Well, hello. So I am we're going to have a talk with a very special guest today. Um, Kerry Latty. She's a real estate agent. Ready now. Ready now. And she's going to be joining us in just a minute. Click on link. There we go. She's going to be joining us any minute. Going to be Hey, Margot. Hey. Hopefully this way works out better than all the other ways I have attempted. We shall see. So this is bananas because I've never done thank you so much because I need whoever can be here for some moral support. And so I'm really looking forward to interviewing a real estate person today because I think it would be very beneficial. So, last week, if you were watching, we ended up going to StreamYard because Facebook Live was bananas. And I know it wasn't just me because she tried it too. My hair is a little unruly. Like I need some oil or something. But so it wasn't just me. She Rika Wright. She was our person for for credit repair. And she couldn't get on either. So we actually ended up doing her stream live. It flipped. So she became the host during stream live. I'm sneaking on at the office. I see. Sometimes it just be like that. So far, it's just me and you and one other person. So hopefully Katie will join us in a minute. In a minute, she will be here. But the reason why I thought this was kind of cool is because I feel like if we can do it, Michael and I, if we can do it, then anybody can do it. So last week we talked about credit, and we ended up going off of Facebook Live and just did StreamYard, which I am learning how to do. But so far so good, except for my host will be here any minute. And I'm turning this way because I'm trying to make sure I don't miss her communicating to me. So I thought it would be awesome to now talk about real estate because real estate is an awesome asset, not just for obvious reason. Well, the obvious reason is it's an asset. That's the obvious reason why I think it's a good idea to understand real estate. But it's also not as scary as people think it is. It's a matter of like marking check boxes and making sure that you have your ducks lined up in a row, but it's really not as scary as you thought it could be. And I remember when we bought this house, we were all about like, okay, paying off credit, but it's more than that. Sometimes you can I'm waiting for my person to come in. Sometimes you can not write things off. You can get this stuff off your credit report. So I knew how to do that because Michael and I were all about that 6 years ago, when we were buying this house. We were all about getting our stuff right, and so that we can get the best rate. But now I think it's be a nice lead in to talk to a real estate agent to talk about, her business, and so she can drop some gems on us. So let me just see if she sent me a message here. Let's see. I'm looking for my lady. I don't see her. I'm going to call her live. Yeah, I don't know why I'm singing. I have no idea. I don't know why I'm doing it. Oh, look, and I'm very self-conscious about things lately. Okay. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to hit call on the messenger, or a camera, but I did. But anyway, so you just click on the link. There's not a lot of people there, but They'll get there.
So I clicked on the link, and now it's saying my browser has blocked your mic and camera. So I click on the camera to allow access. And it's just, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Clear the setting and reload.
Oh.
Okay,
There are many different programs. I'm looking at some questions. Let's see. There are so many misconceptions about real estate and home ownership. Yep, that's true. I think, Margot, there are a lot of misconceptions about that, and that's why I think this is going to be great. All right, checking in with you, Kerri.
Okay, so
I didn't know that, Margot. Oh. Okay, Kerri. Just checking in with you.
All right.
Oh, okay. See your name. It says devices not connected. Okay, let's see.
How do I?
Your name is in there. You have your camera on?
How do I unmute and stuff?
I can't tell without backing all the way out. But you know, the link that I gave you when you signed in, it gave instructions. I don't know what they are anymore, but I had to follow them too. But let's see if I can. Let's see.
So I'm here, but it's
on the bottom of your screen. Does it say mute?
Yeah, I'm hitting a button to unmute.
Okay.
Why is it? I've done the allow access and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm on a Mac. That helps anyway.
You should be. I see your name, but I just don't see your face yet. And I have it on the 2 persons thing for when you do join, your face would pop up.
Yeah. And like my camera is blue to let me in. Oh God, this is terrible.
I'm gonna turn your volume up because worst case scenario, we'll just do it like this. But let's see.
I feel so bad.
Don't feel bad. Hey, no. So all right. So far we only have our lovely Margot. Hi, Margot.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
Okay, so I'm new at this too, but what I would do, it sounds like you've done the things. It just says device for some reason. It said device not connected. Now I don't even see your name here anymore. So I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Here I am. Okay.
Here you are. Oh, you're here? Okay. I'm getting excited.
Jeez. I think I got in.
You got in. Okay. I don't see your name or anything.
Okay.
I hear something. The guests will need to connect their mic. It said the guests will need to connect their mic cam before you can add them to the stream. Margot, I did not know you used to be in the mortgage business. Former mortgage loan closer. Really? Okay, you can. I had no idea. Lady, I did not know that. What? Do you still do any mortgage stuff, Margot?
Okay, so it's the camera and microphone. I'm hitting allow.
You're getting, what is it saying on your end?
The connection is secure, so I hit allow camera and allow microphone.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how do I get in? I want to join using the camera and the microphone. I am so sorry.
That's okay.
You know, people invite stuff and I log in, so I I had no idea.
Well, how about we do it? Well, while you're figuring it out, I'm just gonna ask some questions. My cheat sheet is on my phone here. Okay, while I'm getting my cheat sheet up, what would you recommend a person do? A brand new home buyer do?
All right, so I always recommend taking some local home class. First-time home buyers. Even if you have, like, certain people like have parents that have bought and sold before and all that stuff, or friends or sisters. But I always recommend taking that class first, no matter what, because people need to learn to budget, and they teach budgeting, they teach you all the terms in real estate and so forth. So it's just educating the buyer. Some buyers don't want to be educated, but I think every buyer should be educated no matter what.
Right. And I threw you right in there, but I should probably, even if it's just me and little Margot, introduce you properly. And I don't want to say your last name incorrectly. This is Kerrian. Am I saying Latty?
Yeah. Well, it's Latty, but my father always said it like a coffee latte.
Oh, latte. All right, Kerri. And Kerri, you're a real estate agent, but you're also a business broker, correct?
Yes. So my first real job is a business broker. Over the years, I've always flipped houses anyway, so I've always been in some type of real estate. And I grew up with my grandmother and a couple aunts and uncles being landlords. So I grew up knowing what the extra rent meant coming from another house. So what I noticed is a lot of people did not grow up knowing what the value of real estate is. So that's why this year I dedicated myself to be a full-fledged agent and a full-fledged buyer's agent, meaning I would help first-time home buyers. So it's a thankful job, and like this market is very brutal. So I'm glad like I have other income coming in that I wasn't relying on this income. But I just wanted to educate people. I grew up knowing what the value of real estate, but not many people do.
I think that's important.
The camera and stuff.
What'd you say, Kerri, about the camera?
I'm talking to you. I'm still trying to get in.
Still trying to get in. So, hi, Danielle. So, I'm hoping you guys can hear Kerri. She's my guest today. We're talking about real estate. And we're really talking about people not really understanding. I mean, a lot of us do, but not everyone knows the importance of real estate to you and how really it could benefit you. Because now, Kerri, I know that you are a real estate agent, but do you also do things for income? Like, do you invest as well?
So like I said, I grew up with my grandmother being a landlord and a couple other family members being a landlord. So my first house at 21, and then I had a goal of every year I'd buy 2 houses a year.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I've my own portfolio to hand down to my son, and like my son, I used to bring him with me to collect the rent, so I've taught him the value of home ownership. So that's why I said I have my own portfolio, and I just wanted to help a couple of the young people that are in their 20s, like create a portfolio so you don't have to rely on people, and especially like this pandemic showed that everybody needs some type of side hustle or additional income. Wow.
That's smart. So it seems like my daughter was much smarter than me than I was at her age. And that was because I was honest enough to tell her my mistakes so she could avoid those things. And so, so she ended up being the opposite of me in my 19 and 20-year-old self. So she ended up, and I couldn't have even imagined this. When she graduated high school, she joined the military. We were living overseas, and she enjoyed hopping around the world. So she ended up joining the military, and she was a teenager. At 19, she was stationed in Texas, and she bought her first real estate. And that was nowhere near my mind at 19. Like, I was not thinking about real estate at 19. Now, looking back, that was probably the best time, because you know how they do when you go to college, they give you credit cards, they give you ways to ruin your credit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she didn't even have an opportunity to ruin anything. You know what I'm saying? So I used to preach to her growing up, your credit is your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's your other child. Treat it with the most respect possible. And then we gave her a little bit of cash when she graduated, and she put it in the CD, and she did not touch it. Like, I didn't have that kind of, there you are. Oh, okay. So I'm going to add.
I'm so happy right now.
Hang up on the phone.
I am so happy to get in. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. Oh,
That's okay.
Let me turn this light off.
Look, I can't
Does it
even
help a little bit? Okay, yeah.
Carrie, you don't even have a clue.
But now I can't hear you.
I have a bunch of technical difficulties this week, so you're good. So,
Okay.
so she didn't have an opportunity to mess up like I did. You know what I mean? Like, it took me a minute to get myself back on track. And she is still like a tightwad to this day. Now she's almost 30. You know what I mean? It's just like,
don't call my friend a tightwad.
tightwad, but I'm proud of her because I didn't have that kind of self-discipline at that age. I didn't have that kind of will, but it was so to watch her do that and be okay. And now she's got more. She bought another house in Michigan. I think the one in Texas she sold, but she bought another house. I mean, I'm like, now she's in her 20s. Now I'm showing my age.
It's okay.
She's getting up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Too. But it's just like, I wish I had known these things. I wish someone had taught me. You remember back in the day, they had home economics class way back, and they don't do that anymore.
But they only taught cooking, and they never taught finances.
That's home ec, and they taught you how to balance a checkbook.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. When I took home ec, they only taught us cooking, and that's it. So imagine if they would teach financing, home ownership, and all that stuff in high school and basic budgeting. But I want to go back to something that you said about at 19, you didn't have discipline. I try to tell people, if you can pay rent, you can pay a mortgage. And it's funny, but I point out that when you're paying rent, I don't know about in your state, but in Connecticut, by the 10th, you're considered late. With a mortgage, you have until the 15th. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's an extra 5 days. Like, but I tell people all the time, if you're disciplined enough to pay rent on time, you would be disciplined enough to pay your mortgage. And part of paying a mortgage is knowing one day you're going to be paid off. And the beauty of a 30-year fixed is your mortgage stays the same. Your property tax might go up, but the mortgage is still the same. Like, I'm living in a house right now that I bought as a foreclosure 12 years ago. My mortgage in this house is $252. So, but that's the other thing that I try to tell people too, is I love an old ran down house. Because to me, I see instant equity, because when the house is old and ran down, they feel it's not worth anything. So they're not going to ask top dollar, and they just want to get rid of it. So I love foreclosures, and like, I live in a foreclosure now, And that's what the only thing that has changed over the past 12 years is my property tax has gone up over the years. But my mortgage is still the same, 252.
Wow. I'm not gonna talk about my mortgage. But you make me want to cry.
It comes with what I love to tell people about is sweat equity. Like the house needed work. I used my cousins. I paid for the material and just paid them labor. I bought them lunch every day and did over the whole house on my own. Now, another way that I try to tell people is that say you don't have cousins like I do, the banks have this 203K loan thing where you can buy a fixer upper and then take out the loan for the amount to fix it up. You know what I mean? So, but I always tell people that I'd stay away from the move-in ready houses because they're top dollar. And that's what goes first is the move-in ready. But I always love an old dingy house. I see the vision and I make it what I want it.
Well, we built, and then they know how to get you because they show you things like, oh, I gotta have it. Oh, I gotta have that too.
Yeah.
But now that I have learned my lesson, we're planning on eventually moving back to our home state.
Okay.
It's cold there. Anyway, we won't talk about that. But
I'm in Connecticut, so I know about the cold.
I don't want to do it, okay? I don't want to do it, but I should to be a responsible child to my aging parents. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I've had a talk with my husband about this time. Maybe we should look into like a home that we can do stuff with. You know what I mean? Because that will build up our equity. It's going to make it so much more worth. You know, when we get ready, if we ever want to sell it, it'll be so much more. And I'm a fixer over. I love to recreate things and make things like my own anyway. And so that's the thing. Now, I have a question for you, and I'm probably not going to phrase this right because I'm not a real estate person, but you have to hook me up. So my question is, tell me about 15-year mortgages and how or when people say things like, you hear people on YouTube, oh, I paid my mortgage off and whatever, in half the time. How, is it because they're paying the interest on that?
Okay, so with mortgages, there's 15, 30, and there's also 40, or some banks offer 40 years. I always advise people to get a 30-year mortgage and to pay the 30-year. The reason I say get the 30-year is no matter what, everything, when you're getting a car, you're looking for a second home and all that stuff, they look at debt to income ratio. So you want the lowest mortgage payment possible. So that's why I say get the 30-year. But what I tell people do is either pay the mortgage biweekly, so you make an extra payment. Like if you make an extra payment for 7 years or what, I can't remember, the 7 or 5 years straight, you could shave off 5 years off your mortgage. Or if you make an extra payment 7 years, you shave off 5 years. I apologize, I don't have it in front of me, but that's the best way to pay your mortgage down, is do things that way. Just still get the 30-year fix, so you always know what your mortgage is going to be no matter what's going on in your life. But anytime you have any extra money, throw it towards the principal. And the thing is, you always have to call because they don't want you to pay off the mortgage early.
No, they don't.
No. So if you send an extra payment on your own, they'll just hold it to the side. You have to always call them and tell them, put that towards the principal. And sometimes they even try to talk you out of it, saying, well, we could put it towards the next month payment. Like, no, I can pay next month. I want it to go towards the principal. Because they make money off the interest. So they want you to take 30 years to pay it. Mm-hmm. But that's the best way, I say, especially if you budget well enough and can do an auto debit, whatever your mortgage payment is, divide it by 2. But pay it bi-weekly. So by the end of the year, you made an extra payment. And that one extra payment every year will shave off years in the back end when you're about to retire.
Say what now?
Yep. It's because it's I don't know, that's the best way to explain it. Because remember, it's 30 years of interest you're really paying off. So if you look at your mortgage payment as you're paying it off, when like say you're paying $1,000 a month, 600 of it is really interest, or 700 in the beginning. You don't start paying that mortgage off till towards year 26, 27. Then you're paying more towards the principal than the interest. They want to make money. So in the beginning, that's all you're paying is interest. So that's why I always advise people just one extra payment, or if be disciplined enough to set up the auto pay where every 2 weeks, if you get paid every 2 weeks, a couple hundred, like I said, if your mortgage is $1,000, every 2 weeks you pay $500. So the months that have five weeks and all that stuff, you made an extra half payment, and those little half payments add up.
That's like awesome. And
yeah.
Wow. Well, how did you? So it's such a family thing for you because you've seen it, you kind of watched it, and now you are participating in it.
Yes. Yep. Like right now, 2 of my clients are my uncle. Like I have an uncle that buys properties now, and I have another uncle that's looking for a second investment property. So I emailed them the other day. I brought my daughter with me too. She's funny. I went to a multifamily with both uncles, seeing which one would want it first or all that stuff. You know. Yeah, look, I try to tell, like, people don't realize, like, yes, you need a college degree. Don't get me wrong. I still love going to college and all that stuff. But real estate is land. They're not making any more land. Except sometimes in New York, you can buy air rights and build up and all that stuff. But the land's already out there. You just need to acquire it and pass it down to your children and grandchildren. That's the best way.
Oh, girl. Well, you know, and I don't want to go too far off the subject, but piggyback to what you just said, I think now as I'm older and I've seen how life really is, college is great for the experience of it all.
Yes, it is.
But the truth of the matter is, if it's about like financing your life, you don't need it. Like the things, like all the things that I do. I mean, I'm not trying to, for all the mommies that are like, oh Lord, don't tell my child don't go to college. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a blessing to find the things you love and that you're good at early in life, hone in on that skill, and then you roll with that because you will be profitable. Like I'm finding out things about myself later in life, but I'm also rediscovering things that I've always been good at, but now I'm brave enough to attempt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just had to say that because I think we're probably thinking the same thing, but I just wanted to say, because that's a lot of money. I'm still paying off some student loans, and I'm mad about it.
Trust me, I just talked to Nelnet today. I'm paying my student loans off too. That's why I said, don't get me wrong. College was a lot of fun, and I use my degree now to name drop. It's like I went to Fordham and around the New York area, it gets the doors open. I've gotten deals just because I went to Fordham and the other person was my alma mater. So it benefits me in that way. But the cost of it, when I'm looking at these student loans, I'm still paying off. I've been paying off for a couple of years now. Yeah. It's like, what the hell? But that's the beauty of real estate. They just want you to be 18 and working or show income. So long as you're showing some income, you can buy something anywhere. Compared to typing up your resume, going on all these different interviews and hoping one company accepts you.
So how does that, and I was going to ask you, so for a young person watching this, or a woman or anybody watching this, if they want to be involved in real estate, what do you contact a real estate agent and then go to real estate school, or how does that work?
Well, the best way to get into real estate, I definitely would recommend a couple books to read. Like I love reading. Like every month I read a book. So I always say find some real estate book that you're interested, because you might be interested in the latest thing is the Airbnbs now, where you're making that quick, fast money. or if you're interested in longevity, buy and hold and all that stuff. So find a nice real estate book for you to read. I think like the easiest one is the Millionaire Household, or I can't remember. I apologize for not having the right name. I'll get it to you and give it to you. You could attach it to the
Yeah.
But like I said, every town has a local economics office, and all of those have connections to first-time home buyers program. And I recommend everybody to take that. Like I said, even if you have some type of family member that has bought real estate changes over the years. Like when I started real estate 20 years ago is not the same things that are around now in 2021. Like this market is the worst, to me, the worst market ever, but it's because it's so different compared to any other market. Usually you're able to say, oh, it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market, and things flip flop and there's a couple new things. No, this year with the COVID and interest rates the lowest it's ever been, everything is so new, it's major. But I recommend going to your local office for home economics. They'll tell you, it's usually the Office of Economic Development. Like almost every big town has it. So if somebody you live near some town, and then they'll have those first-time home buyer classes. I always recommend that. I even was starting a couple of my own just for people to go to attend for one day. But those always take. Then they have programs that you can do also for first-time home buyers that will give you grant money. And those have the budgeting classes and the terminology that you need to understand in real estate as also. Because there's some real estate agents that they're here to sell, they're here for the bottom line, but they're not here to educate you as a buyer. So you got to find a real estate agent that will educate you a little bit. Even if you don't want to, you still should know something, why you're signing it. Like I always, no matter what, even when somebody says this is my forever home, I still tell them, think resale. You never make sure you're buying in a market that in 5 years, the house is going to be worth something more than what you paid for it.
That's smart. And I think, you know what, I thought that in the back of my head. It wasn't in the forefront of my head, but it's funny you say that, because I was thinking to myself when we were looking at the neighborhood and the plot of the land, I'm like, no, I want the one in the cul-de-sac in the middle on the hill, because I knew because I know how I think. I know how other ladies think.
Yeah.
Hill.
Yeah, families like cul-de-sacs because the kids can come out to play in the court, because usually cul-de-sacs, the only traffic is the people that live there, so you don't have to worry about the traffic of people trying to go through. So cul-de-sacs are great for families. So when a family's looking, they find out it's a cul-de-sac, they automatically want it. Now your house on a hill means that when it's raining, the water will drain down, which is good too.
Yeah, we don't ever flood. But people walk into our door, they hate it. Ask Margot. They hate walking to our door because it's like you feel like you're gonna fall right on them backwards. It's terrible. I've never in my life, that's the one thing about it. But hey, we never flood.
and that is a big plus. Like today it's raining here in Connecticut, and I'm telling my clients, I'm like, this is the best day to look for a house, because you're able to go in the basement and you're able to see if the roof leaks. Yes. Like my clients are like, no, it's raining. I'm like, no, we're gonna go later, because this is the best time to look for a house. Like usually you don't find out the roof is leaking until the home inspection. Even sometimes they miss that in the home inspection. But if you go to a house now, meanwhile all this rain is happening, you're going to see if the roof is leaking, and you're going to see if there's water that comes in the basement.
Wow, that's smart. I'm writing all this down. I think I'm not. That's smart, because you're like, oh, it's a beautiful sunny day. Let's go. No, lady, we're going to go and see it. This house is leaking. Okay.
Yeah. It really, it's one of the things, like I like going to a house when it's raining. You're going to find out automatically.
And the smell too, like you can see if there's any mildew or anything like that.
Exactly. Now, for a homeowner, they can hide the smell by baking cookies. So you walk in and you smell fresh cookies, which fresh cookies makes you as the buyer relax, but it for the seller, it can hide any smells too.
You just dropping all kind of gems. Now I feel guilty. I mean, I feel bad for the real estate person we're gonna have when we get to Michigan, because
you're gonna be like, well, Kerri already gave me these tips.
Yeah, so, what you trying to hide? Isn't that something? But
the smell of fresh baked cookies relaxes you. So when you walk in the house, you're already feeling this calm feel and wanting to buy it. But for a seller, fresh baked cookies can hide a smell as well.
I'm almost speechless. But I am so almost speechless.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait to. I don't cookies when I get to Michigan. Okay. Listen.
But that's the drawback to it. Like I said, it works as a calming agent to get you, the buyer, to buy. But if as a seller, if you need to hide a smell, go run to Stop and Shop, your local grocery store, and buy some cookies, and in 20 minutes the smell is gone. Because the oven, you know how the oven shoots out the aroma and the smell. Yep. Great way to hide something.
And I feel bad already. I'm sorry, but I'm a little suspect now. A little bit. I can't believe why this is affecting me so much. Anyway, but okay. So you guys, let me read some of these comments because I've been. Okay. I'm not sure if I missed anything. I'm going so fast. Yes, a fixer-upper is a smart way to go when you're buying your first home. I think just a fixer-upper is a good way to go anyway. You know, we kind of talked about that.
Yeah, the fixer-upper, I think a fixer-upper is great no matter what, first, second, third, because it's instant equity once you fix the property up. Mm-hmm. But for a first-time home buyer, they might think it's too much work and all that stuff. So that's where you got to be understandable. Do you as a buyer have some help, or are you going to hire strangers? And I'd never recommend as a first-time home buyer hiring strangers, because you just can't. There's so many contractors that'll run off with your money. So I always ask, do you have a family member that is in construction in some way that can help fix the house up? I always ask those questions.
Wow. I never even thought about that, because I think a lot of home buyers just blindly trust people who they've paid to do a job. You just blindly trust them because you assume, oh, well, that's what they do. But there are there's some snakes out there who will take your money and run.
Unfortunately, they are. So this is why I always, especially when you're getting an estimate, always get 3. You want to have 3 estimates, and you want the person to explain what they're charging you for. Because you might go with the cheapest estimate, but the reason why it was cheap is because he's using cheaper material and he's not doing everything you asked for, or sometimes he's not doing everything you need. So that's why you always get 3 estimates and make sure they put the estimates in writing. If a contractor comes there and says he's not putting anything in writing and he'll just do it for $3,000, say thank you, have a nice day, but you that's not who you want. You want someone that's going to be able to tell you everything they're doing from start to finish, how much they want down, and you never pay a contractor until the job is complete and you are 100% satisfied. Sometimes we get in this, oh, I have the money, so I'll pay it. No. You still want to have the whole work in writing, start to finish, with a completion date. If you're going to start Tuesday the 5th, how many days it's going to take, 10, put that in writing as well. They should be finished on the 15th, and you should be able to walk through on the 15th and inspect it, and it's 100% what you asked for. Then you hand over final payment. A lot of contractors will start the job and then say, oh, I need more money. And then you're just like, well, since he only needs this much, I'll just pay him all. And they run off with that money. You always hire a contractor and hold back some of the money. And you want everything in writing, the start date and the completion date.
So I have, she was a sweet old lady that used to watch the kids for us occasionally. Just the sweet. Her name. Oh, I shouldn't say her name, but I want to say it because I love it. It's so cute. Her name is Bunny. Bunny. Okay, I had it. But that's her name. That's her name. And so she was the sweetest lady, and she lived by herself in a beautiful old home. It needed a lot of updates, but it was, you could tell it had some good bones. It was gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
And there was some flooding issues, and she had some floor situations, and she had the whole door had to be redone, and the floor it was a lot of work. And at the time, we weren't close enough for me to, you know what I mean? And she didn't have like family member, or she had a daughter here, but not quite old enough to advise her. And I had talked to me about what she was doing or something, but she told me about it kind of after the fact. And the man made all kind of promises and left with the job half done. And I was sick for her. I mean,
yeah,
because she was trying to sell the home to move, and she couldn't. I was just,
oh no,
I was just like, but that's exactly what you described. Like there was anything in writing. She called, she couldn't track him down. He had just taken the money and like run.
Yeah, they do it. I've heard many horror stories, and it's a sad practice. And some of the horror stories are people I've known for a couple of years, and I'm just like, wait, he did that to you? But people, when they get that opportunity and you pay them in all cash, it's like, no. Like I tell everybody, even if you're first time home buyer, you're second time home buyer, you still want everything in writing, and you want a paper trail. Even if somebody wants all cash, no. I need to write you a check, and you need to be a licensed contractor with the state you're in. And they should be able to give you an estimate with their license number. And once they give you that license number, the first thing you need to do is call the state and make sure it's active. Because a lot of states, because of contractors running off, a lot of states have a program where if a licensed contractor rips you off and you're able to prove it in court, they'll reimburse you for some of that money, because the licensed contractors, they pay into this fund because of other bad contractors to do it. That's the other thing too, is you want with the estimate, they should be able to give you their license number, and you should be able to call the state and make sure the license is active. So when you give him that deposit to start working, you're giving a licensed contractor that his license is valid right now with the state. Because some people will let their license lapse. So they're giving you that estimate with their license number, but they haven't paid dues in 2-3 years. So if something happens and you need to sue them, and of course they're going to run off or might not show up in court, you're able to show that judgment from court and go to the state and try to get your money. And that's when they tell you, but he's not licensed. Now, if a licensed contractor runs off with the money, the state can help you with the reimbursement of some of the money that they ran off with. So that's another thing too. This is in every state in not just Connecticut.
Every state.
Yeah, every contractor has to be licensed with the state. So you're able to get that number, call the state, and make sure they're licensed.
Oh, this was so informative. Like I feel like it's the little things that mean the most. You know what I mean? That make the biggest difference, really. Like I wish I knew that. This is good.
But these are all things I've learned over the years. Like, that's why now I'm a wealth of knowledge. But when I first started up in 2021, like I wasn't this big wealth of knowledge. I knew nothing, but I wanted equity. I wanted to flip houses. So this is all. This was all learning.
Yeah, I mean, for you to know that the importance of real estate at that young, I'd love to hear about that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I had friends who were like trying to get me into guy friends who would buy houses and flip. Like, you ought to get into this. I'm like, I'm not trying. And I was thinking of the physical part of it. Like, I'm not about to get in there even though I am physical. I got my hammer, like, I got a drill, everything. For just my birthday last year. But it's like, I was just thinking that I missed the mark, I think. Is something ringing? Not me. I missed
You haven't missed the mark. you can jump into real estate now. You can jump in next year. You can jump in 2 years from now. So don't ever say you missed the mark.
I'm definitely like, and I'm so glad I had you on because it just pushed me right over the edge. Because I've been talking to Michael, my husband, a lot about lately. I'm like, and I didn't want him to feel some kind of way. I said, you know what? By this time next year, I want to buy my own house, not for me to live in, just just because I want some. I like the idea of having income flowing in while I'm sleeping. You're like,
well, I advise married couples to buy a house with for FHA 3% down off of one income. So this, like when you buy a house with both your names on the mortgage, it's on your credit report and it's on his credit report. I always advise people, I said, buy the house off of one income. This way you can live in the house and with two incomes, save up, buy the next one. Now, the next one you do FHA again, 3% down with the person that doesn't have the mortgage on their credit report this way. That I advise married couples to always do that. So this way you have one house you're living in, one house that's a rental property.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and I'm all about it. And I want to do it, and not just one property, but that's why I want to start. I want to start with one property for a family. Yeah. But we're going back to a college town, and I'm like, "Whoa, I can clean up a college town." You know,
there's just any college.
Yes.
Any college, you buy a house because that's the thing to have off-campus housing. To go to college, party all you want, and be off campus, that's huge. So you're able to rent the house out at a premium too. The closer you are to a university, you can get premium rent off of that. And these are kids that want to stay in school, so they're going to pay you the rent every month. Or sometimes some students will pay every semester, so you'll have all that lump sum of rent right then and there. Mm-hmm. So that's really good thinking.
I got goals. Yeah, I got goals.
Yeah, that's really good.
So it's just a matter of now all the information that I'm picking up from you and from just in general, because what led me to this is that for my own personal reasons, but I know that other people can learn from this too. But and I'm trying to hype myself up to be courageous enough to do it. To like, okay,
yeah,
I'm just gonna take the leap.
You'll know when you're ready. You'll know when you're ready.
Yeah.
You'll know when you're ready. I always tell clients, I have a couple of clients now looking for their first investment property. You'll know when it's ready and you'll say, this is the house. And then I'll run the numbers for you and let you know, well, you could get this much from the first floor, this one from the second floor. So this is your income. And I go over cap rates and all that stuff with them. And that's the thing. If you have certain agents that they're great for first-time home buyers, and then you have certain agents that are great for investment properties. And I pride myself on the investment properties side.
Well, okay.
So when you're ready to buy an investment property, try to find an agent that will go over the numbers, which will give you that cap rate, so you know automatically this is how much I can make from the house I buy it.
Wow, that's smart. Now I have a bunch of other questions, and I feel I didn't mean to keep you this long, but I have to ask this question because I've been looking at YouTube's and now I got to get clarification. So for someone like me who works for me and new to me, and I've been reading like when you try to get finance for real estate, they like you to be working for yourself for at least 2 years, and that's not my case necessarily. So I have another question. What is it when and I don't know the term. It's pre-foreclosure. When you find someone who they're right on the fence. They don't know if they really want to go all the way to foreclosure, but they really can't afford the home. And so you find it, they keep it under their name, but you are financing the remaining. How does that work? And am I explaining that right?
Okay, so pre-foreclosure, it depends on what bank. Some banks, once you miss one payment, they consider it pre-foreclosure. which you can catch up with one payment. Some banks, it's normally 3 payments or 2 payments. Every bank is different. But the pre-foreclosure houses is just, okay, this person is falling behind, so they're not sure if they're going to catch up. If you can find someone that wants to work with you and their pre-foreclosure, like a lot of wholesalers go after those pre-foreclosure houses sometimes and try to flip it that way. Or sometimes investors will call and they'll just throw a number out there, like whatever they're willing to pay for the house to get it out, and we'll give you X amount to get out, and I'll take over the mortgage. Those are far and few, the take over the mortgage ones. But it can happen. The thing right now, which I'm explaining to a lot of people, is because of COVID, there is a foreclosure moratorium. So some people that might have been in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, all of that has stopped. Like banks cannot do any foreclosures till next year, 2022. So some people are using that time to catch up to their mortgage, or some people are living in the house for free and they're going to wait until the bank starts the foreclosure process all over next year. So right now, with COVID, the foreclosure process is totally different, and it's going to be years compared to before COVID. At maybe 6 or 7 months, you can able to get your house back. Certain states, their pre-foreclosure is much faster, but Connecticut was a state that gave a buyer chances. Like in Connecticut, you could be in foreclosure and file for bankruptcy and stop it, and be able to work a payment plan out with your bank and save your house. Certain states, they don't allow you to save. You could save your credit a little, a little bit, but every state's different. But right now, it's a blanket moratorium in every state that no foreclosure until next year, 2022.
Oh wow! Yeah. I always wondered about that, and then I was wondering, how awkward is it? And how do you find someone in that situation anyway? Like, how do you help me? That's my business line. I'm ignoring it. They don't know I'm but even ignore the business.
So I think the pre-foreclosures right now, because of computer and modern day, before you used to have to go downtown or it'd be printed in the paper for you to find out if somebody's in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. Now with modern day technology and Zillow around, you're able to see pre-foreclosures much faster on the internet. And you're able to, it'll say pre-foreclosure for 6 David Street. And then you could go to the town and find out who owns it, and then you can search on the internet, find their phone number, or they never advise you to knock on people's doors, but it's much easier now to search for people. Yeah. So but it's a lot of footwork.
Yeah,
it's a lot of footwork.
Might as well just buy a house outright. Really, because it's a little invasive too. Like, I wouldn't know how to approach that. You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
You're thinking about just, I can take your house for you. There's no clever way.
It's a touchy subject because you don't know if it's in pre-foreclosure because they lost their job. It could be because somebody died. They could be going to a divorce. It's a lot of reasons why people end up in foreclosure, and it's sad. It's a sad situation. So.
It happens, and then you don't want to make it worse. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like So I was like, oh, that's a way to go, but I don't know. It just seemed a little bit too much.
I like foreclosures, but I like it when it's finally on the market. Like I have a friend that's a wholesaler, and he doesn't care. He will call anybody, but I can't do it. But it's that he has that focus of dialing for dollars, and I'm like, no, I'll wait. I can't.
You wait till all the way on foreclosure. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll wait till it's all the way to foreclosure, and if maybe they're about to auction it off, I'll show up for an auction, because the auctions, the people they 100% lost the house. But the pre-foreclosures, I can't do it. Like, but everybody's different.
Now auctions. You know, I'm also what is it? HGTV. Like I love HGTV.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm always like frightened by when they buy a house off the auction and then they find out it's got like
Yeah.
termite or crazy stuff, and then like I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't know, right? When
Well,
you buy a house off auction.
I budget for termite in every foreclosure because it's been sitting there empty for a long time. So there's always some type of termite damage. So I always budget for that. But when you're buying a house at auction, the starting price is usually 10% of what it's worth. And then if you're not bidding against anybody, like how today is a rainy day, like rainy days are the perfect day to show up for a auction. People don't want to stand in the rain. So I used to we in Connecticut used to have auctions every Saturday, and if it was raining that Saturday, I was going to an auction. Even if I wasn't feeling like it, I'm like, eh. Then I'm like, oh, it's raining. I'm going to an auction because I can get a house quickly. But the only catch to auctions is, and I always advise people on this, is make sure you have all of that money in cash because you only have 30 days to close, or some states you only have 15 days to close with an auction. And if you need to go to the bank on Monday and borrow the rest of the money, you're cutting it really close to try and do that. So I always advise people, you go to auction, bid, but make sure you have all of the money in cash, because if you don't pay in Connecticut, if you don't pay in 30 days, you lose your deposit. And so the 10% of the value of the house, you hand that over to the auction guy, and that's your money to say you can bid and bring the rest of the money back. Some auctions you have to pay in 3 days, 4 days, whatever, every state's different. Some states you have 15 days to pay whatever you bid. Connecticut, you have 30 days. So say you need $10,000 to bid on the house and you won the bid at 90,000, you have to come up with the other 80 in 30 days or less.
So be ready, prepared if you're going to auction. But
I always tell people, go to auction when you're cash ready. Like cash ready. That's the best way.
Wow. I'm so glad we connected, Kerri.
I know. I am too.
In my real estate game that I don't have yet, that I'm going to get.
Yep, I can't wait.
This was good. So now I hate to put you on the spot because I know but you did great. Number one, on live. Number two, I would love to have you again as I journey through trying to do it. This will be much way down when I come out of my shell.
Yes, I would love to come back again.
That would be so awesome. Yeah. And then we can kind of refresh and remind and talk about the crazy stories of it. But
no, I have tons of those stories I can share. So I would love to come back.
Thank you so much. This is great. Even though it was just me, you, Margot, and Danielle, it was still great.
Good. I hope I taught Margot and Danielle something. That's all.
Well, thank you, God. Thank you so much. Thank you guys too for popping in with us. And Kerri did great. So yes, I'm a friend of Ebony's from high school.
Okay.
She recommended you. Yep. Well, she was right behind me in high school, I think, a year.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad to have met you too.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you enjoy your day. My puppy's You're like, what you doing, lady? What you doing still? So I better go find out and make sure there's no
okay
happening around here. But bye. Thank you. All right. You have a good one. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me. And it seemed like StreamYard. That's what I used. I used StreamYard. It worked out okay. So that was good. And we are going to sign off because I do need to go check on my puppy and make sure there are no situations hanging around in the house. But thank you all. And you guys have a good evening. All right. Bye.